I finally bought my first home, but no one showed up to celebrate. They all went to see my brother's new car instead. Then Mom called and said, "We need to discuss the house." Hi Reddit, my name is Ava. I'm 29, and what was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life turned out to be a lesson I'll never forget. The day I bought my first house was a milestone I had worked nearly a decade to reach. For years, I lived in tiny apartments with peeling walls, worked 2 jobs at once, skipped vacations, missed birthdays, and watched everyone around me live the life I couldn't yet afford. But I never gave up. Every paycheck, every late-night shift, every freelance gig, I saved it all, determined to build a future of my own. After almost 10 years of hard work and sacrifice, I finally had enough for a down payment. When I held those keys in my hand for the first time, it felt like I was finally breathing after holding my breath for years. I was proud, not just because I bought a house, but because I did it entirely on my own. I wanted to celebrate that moment with the people I thought cared about me the most, my family. So I decided to host a simple dinner. Nothing fancy. I cleaned every corner of my new home until it shined. I hung warm string lights across the porch and set up a cozy table for everyone. I even made a small slideshow with pictures of the house before and after the renovations so we could laugh and enjoy the journey together. I sent text days ahead to Mom, Dad, my brother Ryan, who's 32, his wife Chloe, and a few close cousins. Everyone replied with the same words. Wouldn't miss it for the world. That made me smile. I ordered everyone's favorite dishes, bought a few bottles of wine, and even baked Mom's favorite apple pie. Outside my driveway, I placed a small sign that read, "Welcome home, Ava's housewarming night." I was so excited thinking of the laughter and stories we'd share that evening. But when 6 o'clock came, nobody showed up. I waited patiently at first, telling myself maybe there was traffic or a delay. By 6:30, I started to worry. I called Mom, no answer. I texted Ryan. It showed delivered but not read. The food was getting cold. My hands were shaking a little as I refreshed my messages over and over. And then, out of habit, I opened Instagram. What I saw made my heart drop. My whole family was at a luxury car dealership holding glasses of champagne, smiling, posing next to my brother Ryan's brand new sports car. My mom was crying with pride, hugging him, saying, "You've made us so proud." My dad was clapping Ryan on the back, laughing and grinning from ear to ear. The caption read, "Family means celebrating success together." I stared at the screen for a long time, my heart pounding. The words on the post replayed in my mind, mocking me. Family means celebrating success together. Meanwhile, I sat alone in my brightly lit living room surrounded by food no one would eat, candles flickering softly in the silence, and not a single car in my driveway. I let out a small laugh, but it wasn't out of humor. It was hollow, the kind that comes from pain and disbelief. By 8:45, I finally blew out the candles and turned off the playlist I had made for the evening. The silence was deafening. The house that had once felt so warm and alive now felt like a cold reminder of how alone I really was. I tried to convince myself that maybe they'd show up late, but deep down, I knew the truth, they wouldn't. Then, at 9:12 p.m., my phone rang. It was Mom. She spoke cheerfully, as if nothing had happened. "Hi, sweetie. Listen, we need to talk about the house." Not a single word of apology. No mention of the dinner they skipped. "What about the house?" I asked quietly. She let out a long sigh, the kind that made it sound like I was the one being difficult. "Well, since Ryan's car payments turned out to be a bit higher than expected, your father and I thought maybe we could put the house under the family name for now, just for tax purposes. It'll make things easier for everyone." For a few seconds, I didn't say anything. I could hear Ryan's laughter in the background, the sound of champagne glasses clinking. That's when something inside me broke. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply said, "I'll think about it," and hung up. Then I sat there in the dark, staring at the wall, realizing what my family really saw me as. Not a daughter. Not a sister. Just a backup plan, someone they could use when things got hard. That night, I made myself a promise. I would never let them take advantage of me again. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. Not out of excitement, but out of clarity. The kind that comes when you finally see the truth. I made a cup of coffee, sat at the kitchen counter, and looked through the stack of papers from my closing day, title deeds, insurance documents, loan agreements. Every single one of them had only my name written on it. For the first time in my life, I felt grateful for being careful. I remembered how years ago, my parents helped Ryan buy a condo when he was in his 20s. They put it under Dad's name, temporarily, for tax reasons. A year later, Ryan's gambling problems forced them to sell it at a huge loss. Somehow, they still blamed the bank, not him. Now, I finally understood why Mom wanted my house under the family name, not to help me but to protect Ryan again. By noon, I drove to the county records office and filed a homestead exemption to protect the property from any future claims. Then I called my bank and asked for ownership blocks. The banker even chuckled and said, "Smart move. You'd be surprised how often this happens." That evening, Dad called me. He didn't even say hello. "Ava, your mother said you hung up on her. What's wrong with you? Ryan's in a tough spot, and you're being selfish." Selfish, I repeated calmly. For wanting to keep the house I worked 10 years to buy? "You're not even using all the space," he snapped. "You don't need a whole house. Just let Ryan handle it for a few months. We'll put your name back later." Those words sent a chill down my spine because I had heard them before. When I was 16, my parents convinced me to give my college savings to Ryan so he could start a business. That business lasted 6 months, and my dream of going to a university turned into community college. I never got that money back. This time, I simply smiled and said, "Sure, Dad. I'll think about it." The next morning, I met with a lawyer. She reviewed my case and said, "You did the right thing. Families sometimes try to file quick claim deeds without permission. You'll get a legal alert now, if anyone attempts it." That gave me peace of mind. Days passed, and the only messages I got were from Mom. "Did you talk to your dad about the house?" And from Ryan, "If you're feeling overwhelmed, I can help manage it for you." The irony made me laugh. Overwhelmed? No. I was preparing. I transferred my utilities and home insurance to a private holding company I created, my own LLC. I installed security cameras around the property because I had a feeling someone would show up soon. And I was right. The following weekend, my parents arrived unexpectedly. Ryan was with them, holding his car keys and wearing that same smug smile. "Just wanted to see the new place," Dad said cheerfully. But when I looked down at the papers Mom's holding, my heart dropped. It was a property transfer form, already filled out with my address, my parcel number, and my name ready to be signed over to Ryan Walker. I smiled politely. "Come on in. Let's sit down in the living room." They looked so pleased, thinking I was agreeing. As I went to the kitchen, I quietly opened the camera app on my phone and started recording through the hidden camera above the mantel. I came back with glasses of wine and said, "So, let me get this straight. You want me to sign my house over to Ryan because his car payments are too high?" Dad crossed his arms. "Don't make it sound so harsh. It's just temporary. We're family." I looked Ryan straight in the eye. Funny. When I was working double shifts to pay rent, no one offered to help me. He smirked. "Well, some of us take risks." I nodded. "You're right. Some of us take real risks, like working for 10 years to build a life while everyone else watches someone buy a car." The room fell silent. Dad's face darkened. "Ava, you're overreacting." I leaned back and said calmly, "No, I'm just done being your backup bank account." Then I pressed play on my phone. The recording played loudly, their voices, their demands, the entire conversation. Their faces went pale. "What is this?" Mom whispered. "Proof," I said. "Proof that you tried to take my house. And just so you know, it's now owned by an LLC. Even if you tried anything, you'd be fighting a company, not me." They stood frozen. Then Mom tried to smile weakly. "We were just trying to help." "Sure," I replied, standing up. "Help yourselves out the door." They left angry and Ryan muttered, "You'll regret this." I smiled. "Doubt it. But you might." Weeks went by quietly. Then cracks started to show. Ryan stopped posting his luxury lifestyle pictures. Mom's messages became nervous. "Ryan's been so stressed lately." I ignored them until one day an envelope arrived, addressed to Ryan Walker, but with my address. It was a late payment notice from the auto finance company. He had used my address on his loan forms. 2 weeks later came another letter, final notice before repossession. Then the calls began. Mom crying. Dad angry. Ryan begging. "Just take out a small loan against the house," Dad pleaded. "It'll help Ryan keep his car." I looked at the phone calmly and said, "You mean the car you all chose over me?" Silence. Dad tried again. "You don't understand how hard things are for him."
No, Dad, y replia firmly.
"You don't understand how easy you've always made things for him, because I paid the price every time." They left furious. But a few weeks later, I saw the news on social media. Ryan's car was gone. Repossessed. His wife posted a long story about fake family and betrayal. Mom tried one last time. "Ava, let's talk. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix," I said. "You just have to live with the choices you made." Then I blocked them. Months later, I hosted another dinner, this time with my real friends. The house was full of laughter, music, and warmth.
No manipulation.
No lies.
No guilt.
Just peace. And sometimes, when I look at the empty spot in my driveway, I remember Ryan's shiny car, the one that cost me my family but bought me my freedom. If you felt Ava's story touch your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful life stories.